The black woman is God, plain and simple. She's the mother of all Afrikanity, and I'm her companion, her complement, her confidant. Since the beginning, so it will be in eternity. Our ancestors shine through us. Our offspring validate our existence.
No survival without resistance. Akibalon, stand up. Black love, stand up. Every God, every goddess, forever united and unstoppable.
Giving honor to the ancestors, those who came before us. All the wisdom that they show us. They patient cause they know us. When we fussing and we fighting, they manage to enlighten, enhance our insight. So I add a like and writing. Our connection is a titan. Our love is a colossal. Disagreement is a fossil. I am your apostle. Our love is like a journal. Turn the page eternal. Our souls intertwine. The theology of time dictates that we rewind and go back to the beginning when the deities were women. Time to stop pretending that I hate you when I love you, putting other things above you. Don't like that others drug you. Not me, I always dug you. I believe we've been together since the birthing of forever. You work the stormy weather. I'll never do it better than I do it in your presence. You validate my lessons. My God begets blessings. That's why I call her essence.
The black man is God, plain and simple. The world sees your greatness, why can't you? Y'all wanna see the sisters step up and lead this fight? Cause we will. But not without you. You're a warrior, a scientist. I'm your complement, your companion. I only wanna see you on the throne.
So black man, step up. King, step up. Ain't no way we don't rise when we got a black woman that knows she's God. Ebony, yes.
You my girl, I'm your nuke, you the truth, I'm the proof, no abuse. My masseuse, tie me up and turn me loose. Sebek and Heteru, giving thanks to Neteru. For the king I get in you, no regrets in picking you. Like I said to a star, I remembered who you are. I'm your moon, you're my star, your performance over par. Through the pain and the scars, the shackles and the bars, I fly from here to Mars with my feelings in the jar. If I thought it set you free, I gotta have you next to me. Your intellect vexes me, your conversation's ecstasy. You and me is heavenly, freedom is our legacy. I've yet to see another brother that can touch the best in me. D.O.K. and Ebony, together for eternity. Even when you hurting me, I'm by your side, certainly. Written in the sacred text, from this cycle to the next. I'm the most and you the best. Face to face, we ace the test, huh? See, what y'all don't understand is, we were meant to move in harmony. 2 minds, 1 soul. It was written in the ancient scrolls. With the black man as your backbone, how could you fold? Take back what they stole. They broke the mold, but these arms were made to hold. And hold on, we will. Nigga, be still. Bitches, be real. The deal has been sealed, and all who come against gets killed.
So look at you. Okay. Yeah, he's just went there, just roiled up real smooth. Peace and infinite blessings, family. I am Farugh Ma'at. Welcome to Be Ma'at, on the journey to become to Be Ma'at. This exchange is brought to you by Be Ma'at, of course, Urban Shamans, and Do the Knowledge Radio. This platform was created to, one, for me to share my life story and experiences on this journey to Be Ma'at. 2, opportunity to connect you with the experts and legends in multiple fields to share strategies and life lessons to empower, strengthen, and maintain African family nucleus from a Pan-African perspective. Today's date is February 27th, 2023. And we cannot start this show without having some form of libation. We have a verbal libation to the hundreds of millions known and unknown, for those who struggle, strategize, sacrifice, and work for our benefit. We are the sum of your love, your efforts, and your support. We take this time to highlight a few that personally assist us on this journey. For me today, the Shakamusa Bear Shango. This show is in the spirit of the Shakamusa Bear Shango, who I just for those, I'm doing a book a week. This was my book this week. All right. If you have not read this book, African People and European Holidays and Mental Genocide, by one of my Jegnas, Temple of the Black Messiah. And we talk about Black love and how we shouldn't be celebrating Valentine's Day, that we should be celebrating something that empowers us, that uplifts us, that inspires us. And he breaks down the Thanksgiving holiday, the Christmas holiday, and he talks about the Kwanzaa holiday and a new holiday, Emoji Khamou, which is an alternative to misgivings. So this is a good read. It's a quick read. You can definitely knock this out in a day or two or three. And you can definitely knock it out in a week, which I did. So the show is dedicated to him. Do you have an ancestor, Miss Wisdom, that you would like to acknowledge?
Yes, ancestor I like to acknowledge is so personal to me, Sharon Whitmore Lassiter, who was my late mother-in-law, who showed me a lot about love and relationships.
Ashe. How about you, Miss Ware?
Actually, I have two, and they're both right over here on this altar behind me. And it's my daddy, David Aaron Ware, and it's my stepfather, Lloyd Nelson White. They're both right over here behind me on this altar.
Ashe. So yeah, we definitely got to do that, and we are standing on their shoulders, and we would not be here if it wasn't for their sacrifice and their lessons, and it's just their support.
I'm gonna turn this light off behind me. I'm sorry.
So shout out to we're all wearing up blue. So you want to send a shout out to Offset. May you restore us like you restore Asar. Protect us as we claim our divinity to wholeness. Guide us on our transformation to Heru. Ashe. Also to Yemen Ya. Gotta give shout out to Yemen Ya. She's been near and dear to me. And the Ma'at law that we're going to cover today is, and we're going to actually deal with a principle today. This show is dedicated to one of the principles, faith in one's ability to assimilate the truth.
Sure.
So we learned these truths, and one of the ideals about being Ma'at is being Ma'at, right? And so a lot of people study Ma'at, study Islam, we study Christianity, and then we do that on Sunday or whatever holy day that is, and then the rest of the week we wilding out, right? And then we come in for repentance that day. And which I love about the Shrine of Ma'at and this community is that twice a day we recite the 42 declarations of Ma'at, right? And so every day there's a morality count. Like you have to check in the beginning of the day, saying that I will, and then at the end of the night is I have not. I mean, so it's like it's an inventory. We're doing this inventory immediately in the morning. We're doing inventory at night, and then we might be doing things in the middle of the day. I practice the 7 and the 10, just to freshen my head during the course of the day, and you can't escape that. If you're doing that consistently, you have no choice but to become it, and it's pretty much effortless. And so I really appreciate you coming through and sharing this space, this sacred space with me, and just having these conversations, really real conversations, putting these philosophy ideals into practice. So I would like to start off by asking you, you can do an introduction for those that didn't, that wasn't here last week. Do a brief introduction about yourselves.
Sis, you go first.
You speaking to me?
You go first, sis.
Oh, okay. So my name is Raaw'EL Ware. And that is actually, it started off as an acronym. It's actually my legal name, and it's Royal Anointed African Woman of El Shaddai, the Most High God. That's what that name means, represents. That's what I walk in. That's what I live in. My truth, the way, the light. I am a child welfare specialist. I work in social services. I have a master's degree in behavioral health psychology. So I'm all about mental health and having a paradigm shift. And I'm a mom of 4 amazing sons. And I am on this forever path of love, light, and knowledge, learning, giving, and I'm living my yacht to the best of my ability.
Ashe. My name is BeWisdom. Um, I am the founder of 2 organizations, Jagged Nation Builders and Knowledge Healing and Consciousness, where both of them is about being able to help facilitate our people to come back to a space of knowledge of self, and to heal and to get into space of consciousness and to be able to live out this culture of Vermont on a regular basis, and also teach them about what that is. Um, so in that's what I do. I'm a facilitator of that, of healing and education and knowledge into who we are and what we are as a people, and allow working towards us having Ubuntu communities at one point, um, with each other, and getting out of an oppressive state, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and every other way possible.
Ashe.
Um, I'm a mother of 3, and I have 4 grandbabies. So that's my life right now, outside of doing the work that I was sent here to do for our people.
Absolutely.
I had the pleasure of meeting one of them, right? One of the grandbabies this weekend. And it's beautiful. Like it's and like I said, I just really wanted to take a picture with y'all. But you know, things happen for a reason, and will there be plenty of other opportunities?
I'm sure it will be.
I'm a lover of family. I'm appreciative. I appreciate family, and you had an event this weekend. How was it?
My event.
Yes.
Well, let me rephrase that. My sister and our event, the Solar Sisters, it was great. This weekend was demanding, but it was so invigorating. And when you're doing something that you love, you're creating a space for people to show up in their natural self. It feels effortless. Like you said early, it was amazing. It was well attended. My sister did a stellar job with the decorations. And again, it was a spoken word event. We had food and things of that nature. Then we went to a gala. We were able to sell the things that we create by hand, our high vibrational jewelry, I can't say its name. What's his name? That calls it jewelry.
Oh, Sampatai from the
No, I'll get it. I'll get it before we get off of here. But I'm just grateful to have had the event and to have shared the stage with so many talented individuals to help them to face fears. Because you know what? Fear stopped us from doing a lot of things, relationships, starting a business, finishing school, going to take a trip, things of that nature, traveling. So you know what? We have to make space so that people can show up and face those fears. And so I was grateful to be able to do that. Thank you for asking about that.
No problem, no problem. Like I always try to. But what I aim to do is, even though we have an agenda for the day, I always try to be as present as possible and ask people what's going on, what they, how their week was, what was trending with them. That way we can kind of shape the show to be present and have the spirit come in and do whatever the spirit needs to do, right? So if something on your heart, something on your mind, something on your soul, and you're able to express it. And if that shifts the dynamics of the show, I'm open to that. I'm cool with that. Because my aim is to be a clear vessel for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so you cannot be so rooted in whatever it is that you want to do per se, and block that, you know, are you really being the vessel for if it's so much about your ego. It's so much about what so yeah, that's why I asked.
And it was Baba Heru. As soon as you start talking, I remembered vividly the I don't have mine on right now, but he calls it our Jory.
Yeah,
J-O-Y.
that's
Baba
true.
Heru.
That's so true. Baba Heru.
Yes.
That's so true. All right, so I guess I'll start out by finishing my story, because one of the first questions for me, and then we're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go, oh, look at, see, you showing out.
He said he was coming back. I was about to say.
You showing out, man. You showing out. So my first question is, and I think this is the foundation of why we do what we do, is what we witnessed as a child, right? And so my mom was a single parent, and so this is gonna go around, right? My mom was a single parent, and so I always wanted to be a father. I always wanted to provide what I didn't have. So I was in school, and the teacher was asking all the students what they wanted to be, and got to me, and I was like, I want to be a father, and she was like, no, I mean, like, basketball player, rapper, athlete, and I was like, no, I want to be a father. And she was like, no, you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm like, no, you're not hearing what I'm saying. Like, my purpose, what I want to be more than anything else, is a good father and a good husband. And that came from the fact that my father was there. That came from the fact that I seen how my mom struggled and cried. And I seen these things. And I said I took a vow that I would never put a woman that I care about through that situation. No matter what happens, I would never put a woman that I care about through that situation. A woman, period. But especially someone that I care about. Somebody that I claim to love. And so that shaped my whole life purpose. I'm in family and the family business, in a family repair business, because of the fact that even if I can't have, like, even the Black Love event that we do every year, majority of times I was doing the Black Love events, I was not in a relationship. Same. But I desired that. But it was just like, I'm going to have this kind of love affair, rather if it's intimate, or I'm just going to surround myself with it, because it's so important to me, right? And so that's my question. My question is, how was your relationship with your parents, specifically your father?
Well, for me, my father really wasn't around a lot. My parents divorced when I was about 5 or 6. We would my mom would take us to see him, on the weekends, things of that nature. However, we really didn't have a close relationship at all. So yeah, I didn't have a good relationship with my father. It was interesting because now, being back in Jersey, the reason why I'm still here in Jersey instead of taking a wonderful job in Atlanta was because my dad got sick. And out of his 5 children, no one really wanted to care for him except me.
Wow.
So yeah. So I kind of turned that job down until he was able to get better and be on his own again. But yeah, I don't really have I respect and honor my dad because he is my father, and without him I would not be here. And I also work off of I'm responsible for myself and my own actions. So I don't do to someone that I don't want done to me. So even though he was not necessarily a good father or a present father, that doesn't mean I'm not a present daughter to him. Right. That makes sense.
Makes perfect sense.
All right. So before I respond to that, I apologize. I'm messing with my screen because I do not like how light-skinned I look. I don't like it. I'm trying to add some color. I do not. It's like, why am I so light-skinned over here? You know what I'm saying? But I am a daddy's girl. My parents were married until I was 16 years old, and then there was some domestic violence that occurred, and so in my senior year in high school, I ended up dropping out. My parents separated. My mother went somewhere, my father went somewhere, and I was out on the streets running around doing things. And so, but I love my daddy despite the trials, tribulations, and trauma that I experienced in the home and that I saw. I will share this. I'm very transparent. I'm very much an open book. I will share that when my parents got married, my brother was 11 months old. And the reason that they got married was because my daddy had two women pregnant at the same time.
Mm.
And I have a brother who was born in June. So my brother was born in 68. And I have a brother that was born in June, and I was born in August. And so my mother gave my dad this ultimatum: either you marry me or I'm getting an abortion. You can be with her. So they got married because of me, but I was almost not here. And my brother and I, we stay the same age. We're just that close together. So nevertheless, I love my daddy. I'm a daddy's girl. My mom and I, we were not very close. And maybe it's because despite what my daddy did or didn't do, I gave him grace. And I was hoping that my mother would give him grace too, but I didn't know to what extent he was hurting her, in a relationship, cheating or using drugs or not working. I'm a certain age, and I can tell you that I only saw my daddy have one job in his whole life, and he wasn't on that job very long.
Wow.
So, but I love my daddy, and I definitely miss him. He ended up dying in 2014 of pancreas and liver cancer.
Mm.
And so I was there sitting at his feet until he was no more. So um, I can't say he was a provider. I can't say he was the kind of man I would get with, but I will tell you guys this. Sometimes when you see certain things happen in a relationship, you repeat those same cycles. So I ended up getting with guys like that for
Yes.
several years.
Yes.
Guys that drank and smoked and cheated on me. And I thought that I can, like you guys were saying when I was a fly on the wall, I thought I can love them through it. I thought I can show up and like maybe if they didn't have enough love, maybe if I showed them, but that was self-sacrificing. That was not having boundaries. So I learned later in life to love myself first and to put on my breathing apparatus first. Because if you're on a plane, they said if this thing drop down, don't be over here trying to help them. You better put yours on first.
Right.
So I got it, and I hoped that it wasn't too late for my four sons, because they didn't see good examples of men. Although I did try to find mentors for them in the community. But as far as my parents, I love them both, and I'm glad I had a relationship with them.
Beautiful. I say. Knowledge, you on this?
Knowledge.
Gotta make sure y'all can hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Look, I was in the zone, okay? When God's speaking to your soul, you gotta
There you
invite
go.
that righteousness in, because
Yeah. Sir.
our ancestors communicate through signs and symbols, but most importantly, through our conduit. So, in that space, I was just listening to why healing is important, why reconciliation is important, and why we have to be intentional and very adamant, on be my ink and why you put everything together. Like this, we're hearing examples of why. You see what I'm saying? So oftentimes we hear things from a militant space and we get real militant about it. There's nothing more militant and nothing more revolutionary than loving righteously. You see what I'm saying? Loving righteously and setting righteous examples of love and upliftment, especially in the spaces where we were devoid of it, or we only saw fractionalized pieces because of the war that was warred upon us, and what it meant to be in this environment, foreign to us, unknown to us, and to be victimized mentally, emotionally, spiritually, daily. You see what I'm saying? So we here creating spaces to create new norms or return back to former norms that served us before this interruption of normalcy.
Yes.
So I just wanted to take a moment and like kind of let it breathe. You understand what I'm saying? Like kind of let it breathe, because it's like I'm like, I hear my mother, I hear all of the aunts in my family, I hear, the women in my family, I hear all of their pain in your pain. I hear it. I hear every morsel of it. It's like I get enraged about it. You understand? Like, so my connection, like you were saying, Farugh, like I wanted to be a father because these kinds of things are maladies and afflictions that come from people that are supposed to love you, that you develop a love for, that you develop an abusive relationship with. The trauma and the drama, like just a piece of something to say that you have something. But you're fractionalized and you're getting it in pieces. So, my relationship, I wanted to read something. I was on the show last night with our sister Foxy Roxy and Preneur Starcy podcasting. I was talking about these affirmations. These affirmations were speaking kind of to my spirit. And I want to read something when we get a chance. It says, one of the affirmations, I'll read two. One that says, I choose healing for my heart, body, and soul every day. I choose healing for my heart, body, and soul every day. So thinking about this affirmation and what it states, the things that happen to you, they prepare you for a time where you meet someone in a like-minded condition or way for you to be able to recognize it and seek to help them if they're willing out of that space. So I choose healing. That means that this is a conscious decision that you are actionable about, that you're intentional about every day. So that means that every day you're going back and forth in between the transgressions, the stress, the pain, and the hell that went along with it that you had grown accustomed to. So now the conscious decision to choose healing for your heart, that's your mind. Your heart and your mind are one. Your body, all of the cells, the trillions of cells in the body, what stories are you telling them in that space? Your soul, so that soul body vehicle that's connected to your ancestral lineage and the journey of the soul from the unseen to the seen. So not only are you choosing healing for, when we say my, we're talking about I am because we are. We saying I choose healing for my heart. So everyone that's connected to my heart, that's connected to my body, that's connected to my soul, that's connected to experience, I'm choosing healing for them as well.
Indeed.
So they may not have been in a position to go through this reconciliation process. So this is a debt that we accepted with the physical experience.
Indeed.
So I said all of that because I wanted to, approach and give honor to the vulnerability in space that is being provided in the transparency before I spoke. So if that was okay, if it's not, BeWisdom gonna hit me with a switch. You know what I'm saying? When we get it together. But my relationship with my father was like many of the militants' children. The one who chose the people, the one who chose the cause, the one who chose the revolutionary life instead of his family, instead of her family. So my relationship with my father was one of a revolutionary posture, understanding his sacrifice. He chose to ignore the people, and and he suffered the slings and the arrows and the hell that came along with it. So that was his connection. That's my connection to him because we choose our parents.
Mm-hmm.
So because of his hard nature, everything was law. You know, all law, all universal principles. Everything was law and principle.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother was the healing conduit. So every aspect of the spiritual reformation, mental reformation, physical reformation, she knew every single healing modality for those maladies, whether it was past, present, or future.
Mm-hmm.
So those two conduits in their spiritual ascension together, she needed to know law, he needed to know healing. But where he was going, he couldn't take that with him and keep me at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So his relationship was larger and he was where he was needed. And I was where I was needed because I needed healing to grow and develop into one who could take on and shoulder this militant role that was already laid by my feet by my father as an inheritance, as his father as an inheritance. So bringing back the revolutionary and the spiritual aspects that are oftentimes this way and that way, bringing them back together and showing that one can't exist without the other, and they only exist optimally when they're working in corresponding circumstances together.
Yes.
Wow. See, this is why this was created. This was my I guess the vision that was brought to me. I wanted a place of healing. I wanted a place, first and foremost, healing. First and foremost, healing. When you have a healing space, it's a fertile ground for everything else.
Ah, I love it.
Okay.
Indeed.
You know, so like if you got trauma, it's that hard space. Nothing can break through that. It makes it hard to put any kind of seed in or kind of nourishment or anything. But if you fertilize it, you break it up and it fill it love and water and sun and all that good stuff. And this is what I'm receiving for y'all, and I really appreciate it. So that was beautiful, bro. That's exactly what I desire. Our hearts are hearts. All right, so which one of you gonna go first with your question? Because it's gonna be back and forth. Yes.
I think BeWisdom was going to share as well. I don't.
Oh no, I was just going to say something as far as you were saying with the healing thing and how healing is very important for our community. Without it, we can't do anything else. So all the things that a lot of us as conscious community we're talking about that we want to do when we want to build and all these other things, we can't build on a rocky foundation. We can't build on a busted up foundation with all the stuff that's wrong with us until we get to a place of learning how to heal and being open, knowing that we need to heal. That's the only time once you get to that space, like you said, the seeds can be planted. We can pull out those weeds and those other things, and the seeds can be planted so we can get to a place of knowledge itself. We can get to a higher consciousness. It starts with the healing. Healing in many different ways, actually. I was about to say psychologically, but also very much mentally and emotionally as well.
Yeah, but that logical is important. That's serious. That's a great place to start.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what we gotta do as far as with relationships as well. If we can't be in a place of healing, and if we take some of these things that has been brought onto us from our backgrounds, of our childhood and our parents and what we seen or didn't see, and therefore we made decisions based off of what we seen and didn't see. Like you guys said, you decided because you didn't have a father in your lives that you were going to you want to be those father figures and things of that nature. For me, it was more of I saw the women, my mother and my aunts go through things with men. So my thing was the opposite. My thing was that I'm going to have everything I need so I can control the environment so no man wouldn't have to do crazy stuff to me. Like I'm gonna go to college. When I finish college, I'm gonna get the house, the car, the things. Then I get married. You come here. So when you act up, I kick you out. You know what I'm saying? That was honestly straight up. That was my thought process when I was like 15, 16. Listen, I seen all the crap they went through. I ain't gonna be that way. So I'm gonna be the one wearing the pants in my family. You know what I'm saying? Kind of scenario. And when I got married, the banging of the heads that happened because of that thought process that I had to get out of, to realize that came from a place of trauma and also try to protect myself, you know, get out of that spot.
Well, they say self-preservation is the first law of nature.
Yeah.
I didn't get that memo. I did not get that memo. No, seriously. And let me say a couple of quick things. One, I did not get your address because I was going to send you 2 books to give away to your viewers, whoever they may be.
Okay.
And secondly, I am in utter gratitude and excitement to see and hear men being vulnerable, transparent, and present on this call and showing up now post-pandemic or for whatever reason. This is a season where brothers are showing up and addressing their own wounds and being honest about their own idiosyncrasies and things of that nature. Because what was happening was, for me, and I didn't know the term until I got my degree, was these trauma bonds. I was getting in there because you had this wrong. I had this wrong too. Let's get together. Your daddy alcoholic, my daddy alcoholic too. Let's get together. Instead of healing, you know, kind of thing. So for the last 7 years, and I mentioned this before, I have been celibate and I have been just fully enjoying who I am and who the I am is in me. You know, I'm not connecting with anything or anybody. I'm not mad at my brothers or my sisters or my parents. I'm not angry. I'm not showing up as the angry Black woman. And there's so many platforms on YouTube that talk about women being subservient or how women need to be this way or how men need to rule over them and all this kind of stuff. But all I feel in this conversation is love and unity. We talk about reciprocity and harmony. We're talking about how to heal holistically, starting with self. You know, as above in our consciousness, so below in our root chakra, all of ourself. You know, and so I'm appreciating being a part of this, and I have gratitude for you inviting me to this.
Magnetism. It's all magnetism.
Indeed.
It's all magnetism. If you wasn't who you were, you wouldn't got invited. And wisdom saw something in you. She's like, I got to come with you. She chose you. And so this is dope. This is dope.
It is.
This is dope. All right, so get your question. Which one want to go first? Because it's going to be man. I pose my question. Then one of you have to pose your question.
I have a kind of a general question. You know, we have a lot of things now where we see it all over social media about femininity and masculinity and what they are. And for femininity, it's more of a thing about saying women aren't walking in their femininity. However, for men, it's kind of different. There is this thing about toxic masculinity and what that is and what that looks like. So I would like you guys' opinion on that. I happened to watch a video, I think it was on Instagram or something, where Risa Islam was talking about it, about what toxic masculinity versus what masculinity is, and how they were trying to deem something as toxic when it really wasn't. It was what masculinity is supposed to, you know, look like for men. So I would like to get you guys' idea of what you guys think, in your personal opinions of what masculine is. What is that? The masculine energy that they feel as though men should have or not have, and what's toxic and not toxic about it, if anything at all.
Right. You want to jump on that knowledge?
For you ain't gonna be punking me when we turn 40, okay? That's what they said on Friday.
Not at all, brother. Not at all. At all. We in this together, brother. We in this together.
Yeah, I wanted to read something, if I could. This other affirmation that says, "I forgive myself, and I'm able to forgive those who hurt me in the past. I forgive myself, and I'm able to forgive those who hurt me in the past. So, because I wanted to read something from this great book written by one of my teachers, one of my Babas, Masu Uncle Banu. It's called Remembering No Seer. About 600 pages. I'm not going to read 600 pages, I promise. I just want to read something very quick from the Osirian tradition. You know, since we keep it in Nile Valley, is that all right?
Yes, sir. It's all right. That's a great question, by the way. That's one of the ones I was going to ask as well.
All right. This is the story of the first boy of Nut and Geb, heaven and earth, Osir and his family. Osir was born in Nubia and out of the union of Nut and Geb. When Osir came of age, he married Osset, and the two of them left home and traveled to Kemet to settle and create for themselves. When they entered Kemet, they found the land in a state of chaos. The land was uncultivated, it lacked definition, and there were no borders or channels. There they found people in a savage state. The people preyed upon one another, robbing and killing the next for bread, and sometimes for sport. Due to the lack of knowledge of agriculture and land cultivation, the land was impoverished and lacked food. The people resorted to eating one another. After objectively observing the situation, Osir made an assessment and he knew exactly what to do. I see potential, he said, with a smile on his face. Osset's eyes bucked widened from Osir's response. Potential for what? Osset looked quizzically as she turned from the sight of a man biting a chunk out of another man's leg. Osir grabbed her and smiled. Chaos precedes order, my dear. The very existence of chaos contains within it the seed, the potential of order, said Osir. Osir then walked up to the man that was eating another man and asked him some questions. Why are you eating this man? Said Osir. Why does any man eat? I'm hungry, so I have to eat, the man replied. Yes, that is true. But why are you eating this man? Osir asked. Because we've eaten all the animals, so man is all that is left, he replied. What then will you eat when you're the only man left? Osir asked gently with a smile on his face. The man thought about it for a second as tears fell from his eyes, for he knew that without other men he would surely die. Osir, seeing that he had reached the man's conscience, began to teach him. Surely life is eternal, and the food that perpetuates life has a root and contains a seed, that when the leaves and the fruit thereof have been eaten, you will find hidden within it a seed containing the potential of the tree, the leaf, the fruit that was once planted in fertile soil will yield a harvest that will be self-perpetuating, granting you life for lifetime, said Osir. If you eat fruit or the leaf of the tree or the plant, you will find that they will live again. However, if you eat a man or an animal, you will not find them self-perpetuating, for they, as well as you, will eventually die. And you will not have a seed nor soil from whence to sprout again, Osir said. The man then stopped what he was doing and humbled himself before Osir's wisdom, of which he had no doubt was divine in origin. Would you please teach me how to cultivate the land? The man asked. Seeing that the man was fully receptive, Osir agreed. Osir then healed and restored the man that was being eaten and taught the two men how to harmonize and work together. In this manner, Osir went about establishing Ma'at, law and order in the land. With the law being established, Osir and Aset proceeded to teach the people how to cultivate the land. So I just wanted to read that right quick because our traditions is where our answers come from.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at our traditions, when we look at these stories, when we look at what our ancients left in that regard, this is where we're supposed to draw strength from. This is where we're supposed to get our standardization from. So our ancestral wisdom says, hey, this exists here. Don't be dismayed by what you may see from your visual cortexes. Don't allow these things to defer you, to dissuade you, to push you this way or to push you that way. That definitive thing that comes from divine, that definitive thing that comes from these types of essences, circumstances, begins to define you from the inside out. So masculine in this space is this gentleness that this man displayed for his brother, irregardless to the state of the land, irregardless to the state of the circumstances that he found when he initially came into this place to build something for his own. He had to have an example of this in Nubia where he came from. He had that come from a family society that not only said these things, but exemplified them. And to be able to recognize when it was void of this situation and what to do immediately. So he didn't immediately speak. He didn't immediately begin to berate and go crazy. He went into this space and he made an observation. And in this space where he saw all of this chaos going on, he remembered that out of this chaos, order could be established. And out of this chaos, order could be reestablished. It may look chaotic, but beneath the soil, there's fertile ground. When you go out there, the seasons prepare you for life. So if we're in the winter season approaching the spring season, we, as the agriculturalists, going out there to till the ground, we know the labor that's associated with breaking ground. And if we look at the state of the soil, it being frozen, it being, impoverished looking on the top of it, and we say, hey, that soil looks a little too rough, man. I don't know if we could plant any seeds there. We already lost. So going into this space, going into this mind, going into this heart, going into this consciousness, and seeing the potential for order indiscriminate to the chaos, if they're willing to be able to mine out and to carve out that useful land and begin to plant seeds in the soil. So that man in that state was still able to be receptive to a gentle set of questioning that would lead him back to his righteous nature. It took a little time and it took some patience, but he was willing. And once the man became receptive, he could begin to be taught. So masculinity in that state provides that gentle, cool type of instance where which these things can begin to flow. That spark, if it's willing, if it's there, if it's present, if it's receptive, if it's received. Otherwise, the chaos continues. So that's my short answer over here. Short answer.
I was trying to see where you were going with it. May I? May I?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. I want to tie in her question with what you have shared with us, because she asked about masculinity and I was trying to see how you were tying it in. And so based on what she asked about how does it look when it's not toxic or controlled, First, I want to say that we, in our physical body, in this vessel, have feminine and masculine energy, whether we're male or female. Let me say that first and foremost. And sometimes males can be too feminine, especially now that we're out of the closet and stuff like that. And sometimes females can be too masculine. We're out of balance, right? And so, in what you just shared about, can you hold the book up and give us the title again?
So remembering Osir.
Excellent. So, Osir, when they came, you found them eating each other, and this gave me a present day vision of the walking of the living dead, or whatever you call it. So the dead is eating the live, and so when you're dead, you're walking around lost. You're consuming anything because you don't have a brain, and that's what it came from back in the day. Was they wanted to eat your brain. But now in the walking dead, so in this thing this illustration that you gave, they did not understand the concept of putting life in their body, and there's fruits and vegetables, so that they can have life that produces life. And so they were eating each other away. So when a man has balance, a foundation of balance of his energy, and he can speak and nurture the other person and cultivate those seeds and get into the brain, the mindset, the super consciousness, and he can lead the other person back because he in himself has balance. But a toxic man wants people to yield, submit. They're egocentristic. They're out of balance. They're in chaos, and they have not found the way, which is internally first, because they go external looking for it through SAD, which makes you sad, which is sex, alcohol, and drugs, and all of these material things, rather than going internal and being still. We want to move around and go external instead of being still and knowing thyself. So when a conscious man, taps into his masculinity, he does not have to bark orders. He can give orders, he can command things, but he does not have to demand things, in my humble opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I would tie in her question to what you gave us.
Gotcha.
I am. This is good. So my response.
I ain't want to follow that, Farugh. So hey,
Listen, I'm built for this, bro. I'm built for this. All right. So from my perspective, you dead on. I don't like to use the term toxic masculinity, right? I like to use the term unbalanced masculinity, right?
Indeed.
Because that's what it is. It's an imbalance. It's even your environment it's causing you to act that way, or you're eating is causing you to act that way. So for me, masculinity is a purposeful man, right? Purpose is job one for a balanced masculine man, right? He's gonna make sure his family is taken care of. Purpose. He's gonna make sure that he's healthy enough to take care of his family. Purpose. He's gonna also be in a space. He's gonna be dangerous enough, if you have to protect his family.
Indeed.
Balance, right? So self-reliance is one of the true traits of masculinity. Discipline is a true state of masculinity.
Yes.
Emotional well-being is one of the traits of a divine masculine man. And I push for the term divine masculinity, and then it's out of balance masculinity. That way, it's not so degrading. It gives room for growth. It gives room for correction. When you talk about toxicity like that, it's almost like
it's going to die.
It's going to die, right? And it's hard to speak into those terms, and that's why I believe Kevin Samuel's messages got took out of context. I believe a lot of men.
None. I'm gonna come back to that.
No,
You just brought up this brother name. May he rest in peace.
Let's listen. The way it's like even Killmonger, right? We had a conversation about Killmonger yesterday. We did this whole what I'm back beyond Wakanda thing, and I came in. They paid me to come in as Killmonger, and it was this whole ideal that Killmonger was evil. He was a villain, quote unquote villain, and I was like, why would he be considered being a villain? Oh, because he was killing people. He was doing this, doing that, and this. I said, what? Why was the reason why he was killing people? He wasn't killing people just to be killing people.
Mm-hmm.
He was in pain, right? He desired love. He wanted his father back. He wanted acknowledgement. He wanted some place to call home, and he was trained by the system. And all his examples of achieving those things was by killing and sacrificing and taking out people. Now he ain't doing
the heroine was doing the same thing too, though.
Huh?
So it's about the balance and the perception that people want you to see, because the so quote unquote heroes did the same things and they had reason why they killed, just like Killmonger had reasons why he killed. It's just that we were programmed to believe that the heroes' reasons are justifiable and the other person's was not. So it's the same thing we're dealing with, the again unbalanced of masculinity or anything else. We all have our reasons why.
We all have our why, and if we are open enough to hear those reasons and have the compassion to hear those reasons and be non-judgmental to hear those reasons, then maybe we can come to some kind of advancement in our relationships. But we come in prejudging. We come in with our already with our perceptions set. And so we miss out on a golden opportunity for us all to grow together and grow towards a well-balanced humanity situation, right? But I believe Kevin Samuel, his conversation sparked the reason why a lot of men are now able to have this platform to where they can speak their heart's song. A lot of women started apologizing because they didn't think men had feelings. They thought just men just was like supposed to be working and just supposed to provide, and men are just these byproducts. They're just these products. And I'm not saying that it was the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not.
Listening to you makes me feel like I need to listen to more of what he has stated, because the things that I've heard,
that's the thing.
Yeah, so it's
really have to have an open mind and an open heart to hear what they're saying. Not saying, like I said, it's the delivery is like Killmonger, right?
Mm-hmm.
His ideals was honorable, right? His ideals was honorable. He wanted freedom. You want all black people, all Africans to be free across the world, blah blah blah. But his methods was out of pocket. His mindset was ill, right? But his ideal, I thought, was honorable, right? And I think Kevin Samuel falls in the same boat. I think his ideals was honorable. His approach was horrible.
So he had the ideal to have women see that men have emotions as well.
Right.
Just like women said they go through trauma, men have gone through trauma as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to listen to this stuff, because everything that I've heard, which I can't say, I mean, I don't have a leg to stand on because I didn't hear a lot of it, because I just chose not to. And it seemed as more as if, and even in some of the stuff he said as far as dealing with, what did he say? A high value male or a high value woman, and what it is and what they look like and things of that nature. For me personally, I think all of that is superficial.
Yeah. Indeed.
The things that he was talking about were very superficial, talking about finances and, you know, what your body type looked like or how many kids you had, and all those things make you high or low value. And unfortunately, what happened was, I think this is what happens. I think he might have initially had a purpose. However, in the day that we live in, it's all about creating some type of
numbers and following.
Yeah, spark to get people to
Yes.
jump on to what you have to say. So therefore, when you do that, now you have more people jumping on to saying it. And also, too, from my personal experience that I've seen, like I said, I haven't heard a lot of this stuff. The stuff I've heard reiterated from what he said about the high value women and different things, and men are jumping on this bandwagon to talk about that. Unfortunately, don't have the qualities of a high value man to want to consider to have for wanting their woman to be a high value woman, or to say that their women's need to be these certain ways. However, you not meeting what you claim and your so-called mentor is saying is a high value man to make these demands in the first place.
Okay, I got to speak to that because his target audience is not us. His target audience is not people of culture. So what we have to do, and what I had to, because when I first heard the Kevin saying, I was like, oh, this dude is a joke, right? I had to go by my own body to hear the humanity message in the stuff that he's saying, the human message, not so caught up into the whole, because the people that he's speaking to making $100,000 a year. The people that he's speaking to, because nobody, and it's funny, but nobody, he was just as hard on men than he was on women, but nobody talks about that.
I don't know. I really don't want us to shift the energy toward Kevin Samuels.
Yeah.
I want to stay in this really good vibration, but I will say, as a psychologist, I did watch a number of his videos to observe that he was hurting, and he was coming from a place where he didn't have healing from his mother, his grandmother, or his daughter. He called his daughter selfish. He said that women should be to a man like a puppy, that we don't need to be happy, that we just need to be there to make him happy. So there are some things that I don't think that we will agree with, but I think that he was hurting in some ways himself, and he needed healing, which he did admit that. And so I looked at his audience, and a lot of the men were incarcerated who were in agreement with him. A lot of the men that were coming on were, we cannot justify treating people ill. Yes, they have some hurt and pain, but to belittle and to degrade and things of that nature, I'm not going to come from that place. I know it's hurt. I've been hurt. We've all been hurt and had trauma, but I'm not going to justify that type of behavior, narcissistic behavior, ill, when you have some things that you have not. I'm not going to allow you a pass because you didn't address your own. And I don't, the Killmonger, yes, he was hurt, and I understand what we're talking about, but I'm not going to say it's okay for you to treat a person away because you were molested or raped. So it's okay. Well, he was molested and raped, so that's why he's doing this. I'm not going to justify that behavior personally. So we heal through love, we heal through conversation, and things of that nature. And I personally want to stay in this area, and that is the other side. From ISFAT, chaos and confusion, that is the other side of the coin. And we can't have darkness without light, up without down. And so I get that. And so, but I'm not going to say that that's a form of love. That is hurt. I'm going to call it what it is.
I agree with you, sister.
And I agree. But my point was that I think that's why men are opening up. That's all I was trying to say, right?
Because of his show gave them opportunities.
Nation gave men the courage to say, all right, we are hurting too. And these are the things, not saying that, and that's all I was saying. That was the only reason.
Okay. I will receive that.
I was saying that that's why I think like we are in this place now where a lot of men are opening up now, where a lot of them are showing their vulnerability. I'm not saying I'm justifying what the way it came about.
Yes.
But in the midst, just like the seed is broken, when the seed is broken up, that's the only way a plant can come through. Or, you know what I'm saying? So you have to break, and the break is painful. And we all did it in the work. that shit is not easy. Yeah, I mean, but we had to go in the dark and be buried in our stuff and break that shell, break that trauma, and that hurt. But now, where we are now, and so
Yes.
I think that's why we're having these conversations. I think that's why men are opening up the way they're opening up, because they had a platform to just now discuss that we do have feelings. That
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like to say to other women, off of what Farugh was saying about as far as men being in this place to open up and to be open to be vulnerable, that we are there to receive that in a positive, sacred space. Um, because sometimes that doesn't always happen.
Mhm.
Um, and as a woman, I'm just sometimes some of us as women can say one thing of how we want the man in our lives, brothers, fathers, significant others, who would have you, to be vulnerable and sensitive with us. And we say we want those things. However, when we get them, we don't hold that sacred.
Thank
Um,
you, thank you.
Spaces. So we have to be more
Part.
mindful of doing that and not using it against them, just like we don't want those things used against us. So for me, a lot of times when I'm having conversations like this, I feel like some of the things that will help to combat the back and forth between man versus woman, especially with us, with Black people, is this: men, y'all talk about y'all, women, we gonna talk about us. So versus getting, well, men do this, and from a woman's perspective, and then it's a space for that, to say what we want to have and what we want to see um from our brothers, and same thing for brothers, to say what they want to see from us, or what they need from us, or what they don't like that we're doing. But it's a way about doing it, and then without us getting to a back and forth. And so I say, only thing I can fix is me, and work on other sisters, raising my daughters and my granddaughters and my nieces and certain things. And when I'm in a space with other women in secret spaces, helping them to heal so that we can be in a space, because it's a circular situation that happens. So it's not one thing that's going to correct our situation with our relationships to build better families and stronger families. The man has to work on the man at the same time the woman has to work on the woman. And then when we come together and we create children, then those children will be better off. So we have to get in a space, women, that we want to be heard, but understand that men want to be heard as well. And just like we come to a space where we feel as though a man has hurt us, and that's why we feel these certain ways, and man ain't this and man ain't that, because they've hurt us. We also have to realize that men are hurt too, and sometimes, just like our fathers may be our first love, or the first boyfriend we had that hurt us and caused some different things for us, the same thing for them. And something that Ayana Van Zandt said that kind of hit me hard to my chest was about sons and stuff like that, about how a mother can make or break her son by how you speak life into them. And sometimes you see them treating women different ways. It might be because we hurt them. We broke their heart, even sometimes unknowingly. And that hit me hard when I realized the relationship I had with my son and some of the things that he would say about women. Like, dang, I did something. Like, what did I do? I broke my son's heart. And now that's the reason why he acts the way he does towards women. So just like we act the way we do towards men for something, and we got our heart broken, men sometimes too. And unfortunately, sometimes it's us as mothers. So we have to take responsibility for that as well, and create the space that we want to be in too. Just like we want a man to create a sacred space for us, we have to create that sacred, safe space for them as well. Okay, I'm done, y'all.
I think it all comes back down to what Brother Knowledge said earlier in his affirmation. I forgive myself. There's a lack of forgiveness out there. We don't forgive the other people, but even when we've done and said some rude things to hurt people, we don't forgive ourselves. We're busy blaming. He did that, she did this, and those kind of things. And I'm easy to forgive. And I can say this, I'm going to be really transparent, really vivid, and really honest. I have 4 sons. I was taken advantage of. I had to forgive that person. Because it wasn't the white man. We can talk about how the white man ain't doing this, and how, all these kind of things, pointing fingers. That was a black man that did that. That was a black man that didn't stand up and take care of his children. I'm a single mom. I raised the 4 sons. But am I mad? Am I angry? No. Because for whatever reasons, I'm empathetic. And I said, somebody hurt this brother. Somebody didn't show up for this brother. Somebody didn't love this brother. This brother didn't love himself. And so I've tried to teach my sons how to love, and I failed, of course, because I can't teach them the masculinity that a man should show up and give them. And so I've asked my sons for forgiveness. Can we even do that?
Mm-hmm.
Ask our children for. So we'll like I said last time, we'll tell our kids when they're little, when you hurt somebody, go and apologize. But as adults, do we go and apologize? Can we be honest and big enough to say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I did something wrong, I took advantage, I didn't show up, or whatever. So that's where healing starts, is to forgive ourselves, look in the mirror and say, I didn't, being honest, being honest. I'm not the, I was not the woman I was supposed to be. I was not the man I was supposed to be. And so I forgive myself first. And I'm going to say this. Sometimes people blame the creator. However you call it, the source, the creator, the divine God. God could have showed up. Why they take my daddy, my virginity, my mama, my whatever it is. God, I don't trust God. I don't believe in whatever it is. Well, it starts with you. When you heal yourself and you embrace the divine within you, you start your own healing and your connection to the divine source, in my humble opinion. So anyway, masculine and feminine entities, what we're talking about, self-love, forgiveness, and having these conversations so that we can be a mirror reflection of each other.
I say. Can I present something to you?
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Did you say you failed your sons?
In some ways. They don't think so, but in some ways.
Can I present this though?
Yes, please. I'm open.
You fell short.
I like that.
You didn't fail.
I am pretty short. Yeah.
So you fell short of what you wanted to achieve.
I did.
By no means that you fail.
I appreciate that, because
No
I am proud of them. Let me just say this. Two of them are entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and two of them have double bachelor's degrees and are college graduates. And they each, one of them owns his own home, and one of them is married and has a child. They're all, they don't have children everywhere and stuff like that. Even though I'm a mom with multiple baby daddies, they are not like that. You know, I'm proud of them. So they did see something in me, and I'm glad that they love me and I love them. So
you
I
did
did
a lot
more.
did the other.
Say again?
I said you did a lot more right than
I
you
think
did
so.
the other.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I see. Yeah, so it's looking like we're all saying that in relationships we had to get ourselves right before we try to get into one, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm ready now, baby. I am ready.
So you are.
Ready.
You are.
That means it's coming. You manifesting it. Get real specific.
Yes.
Real specific. This our sister told me. One of our sisters from the shrine, actually, Queen Tadinway. She was initiated like 3 years before we were. She told me to be very specific. She will always ask me, "Sis, what is it you're looking for?" And I'm saying, "I don't want this." She said, "You always talk about what you don't want.
Come on now.
What you do want." Then I had to recognize and understand what you put emphasis on, what you concentrate on is what comes to you. So therefore I was getting what I didn't want versus what I wanted. And even like you said earlier, sis, about sometimes you wind up getting into the same things. Like you said, you started dealing with men that were like your father. And so it was I. And what I recognized for me, it was I always wind up dealing with a man that was not fully present. He was always absent. He was not available in some way, whether it be physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. In some way, he was not present to be there for me. And that came from my father not being present for me. And it's crazy. I went to therapy years and years ago, and the therapist said to me, and I was talking about issues with me and my ex-husband now. And it was like, well, is he like your dad? And I was like, no. He don't drink. He ain't a drunk. He don't do drugs. He ain't like my dad. But when I thought about it years later, I was like, yo, he is. He didn't do those things, but he was not available for me in many ways, just like my father wasn't available for me in many ways. So now, it's crazy because now when I see it, I catch it quickly. Because sometimes when you have patterns, it's hard to break those patterns. I'm like, hold up, he ain't hearing that kind of way. Okay, you need to let that go, because again, you got to say yes to someone who is not available to you in all the ways that you want to. But people, you guys, you got to manifest it. Be very, very specific in what it is that you want. And I ain't talking about physically either. I mean, what does it look like? How do you feel? What activities do you like? Do you want to be able to do with this other individual? Things of that nature. You manifest that, you stick with it, and you set them intentions. Close your eyes and visualize it. And boom, it's gonna come to you before you even know it.
I love it.
Facts.
Okay.
That was one of my questions. So hopefully we'll get to what are the top 3 characteristics. But you have, Raaw'EL, you have a question?
Do I have a question?
Yeah. This will be, I did my question. BeWisdom did hers. Oh, matter of fact, it's Knowledge turn.
It is Knowledge turn.
It is Knowledge turn.
I could yield. I could wait. After you.
He said he yields, sister.
Yield.
No, because I'm like, go ahead. Go over there. Go over there. Do I have a question? I have a question, yeah. And I don't know how it fits, but I think it fits. Having taken the time to not just go through things, because I've gone through things, but to now grow through things. I'm not sure how to I don't know how to date or get in a relationship. Like I haven't even been out there. You know what I'm saying? People are like, well, you can't be on the internet. You like, my question is, how do I make myself available in the physical world and not just the spiritual world where I'm speaking to my husband on a daily? Because like I told you, I'm always praying for him. Like, baby, I don't know where you are. I hope you're eating well. I hope that you paid your bills on time. I hope that you're resting well. I'm always speaking to him in the spiritual, but I don't know how to, because they said a man that findeth the wife in the Christian realm. So how do I, besides projecting my energy in the spiritual realm, how do I show up physically to let this man know I'm here?
Wow. In my personal opinion, you just be. You just be. You keep doing what you're doing. Like one you said, a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. That's one. You spiritually talked about it. You manifested it. You're walking in it. So when the time comes, it'll just come. You just be. You just keep doing everything that you're supposed to do. And if you feel as though you're not doing everything, just like you pray for that man, you sit with yourself and you ask yourself, God, the higher purpose for you in your life, what is it specifically they want you to do? And that leads you, and they'll let you know. Maybe something to come over your spirit to say, today, instead of going to this grocery store, you go to that grocery store, or whatever it is. You always just be in a space of being in tune with self for what it is without manifestation. And it, again, just be. And it
Girl, I don't even go to the grocery store. I order my groceries online. I don't go to the laundromat. I wash at home. I have a vision board, and I have like the pictures. I don't go out.
Let me tell you, somebody told me this, and I honestly believe that now because I know what I want. And even though people tell me I can't have that, whatever, but I want somebody who does the same thing that I do. I don't want to be that person that I'm for the community. I'm out there in the community. I'm doing these different things. And I have a husband who supports me. However, he ain't there with me. Like, I want to have like mine. I want us both to be in there, both hands together on the plow, digging up that dirt, working for these people. You know, both of us together, holding that sign up in front of the leading these people. That's what I want. So I was told that when I get actively into what it is I'm doing, that person will be right there looking for me, right there. It'll hit us.
Bars.
So when you are doing what it is that you love to do and what your purpose is, it'll line up, because you're on your street, they're on their streets. Your streets will line up eventually. You know, a lot of times what we try to do is we veer off our road that we on to go find something or find somebody, and now we all over here in each blip or whatever, instead of going to where we're supposed to be going. So if the person's meant for you, you keep on your path and they'll come to your path, or your path will eventually lock up together and you'll go the same way. So keep everything that you're doing, like the things that you guys are doing with the poetry, like y'all did that thing.
Yeah, because I just look at that as
all
business.
of that things, you're putting yourself in spaces. And also, like he said, the affirmations. One of the affirmations that I did when I did that 7-day challenge of I am. I said, I am attracting Ubuntu family. I'm attracting Pan-African people, my tribe. So those are the people that I'm attracting to me. And in those things, I'm attracting a higher vibrational relationship. Who is Pan-Africanism? Who is also understanding what an Ubuntu family is, because that's who I am and that's what I am going to be. So I need that other person to be the same way.
Indeed. Oh, I received all of that. So let me clarify something. Whenever I'm doing those events, I always just have on my business hat. Like, I'm focused, I'm on the stage, I'm here for a reason, but I never say, "Ooh, he might be up in here." But I'm open for wherever he may show up. But like you said, I feel like going to grab my vision board, because I got the food, I have all of that surrounding him with his African attire on. I can even smell. Oh, y'all smell his cologne. I can even smell his cologne. Oh, I'm saying, I feel this brother. He's got these kind of conversations that y'all having. So if I'm closing my eyes on here while these two brothers are speaking, it's because it's resonating, and I'm feeling his vibration when you two are speaking to me. So I'm embracing your energy, your words, and so that's the spiritual self. And so maybe I am doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm just patiently waiting. I'm going to say one more thing. This one brother told me, I was in another conversation like this, and he said, "Well, sister, it's so many women out there that brothers can choose from. You may not get one because it's so many." And I said, "No, because the one for me is the one for me, and he'll see me when he sees me. So I'm not competing, comparing myself with none of these women, because the one for me is for me, and he's seeking me like I'm seeking him." So yeah, I received that, Sister BeWisdom. Yeah, I received that.
You know, it's crazy. I hear men say that all the time when brothers. I talk to brothers, different brothers, who they say the same thing about. Especially, like, for instance, I have a lot of conversation with people who are polyamorous or polygynous, right? And they say the same thing, and they try to make their justifications. I'm not saying things wrong with poly whatsoever. I've been in a poly relationship, so I'm not saying anything wrong. However, just the thing that they're trying to make and say. Look at all his face.
I know. I know. He's like, what they say?
Talking about the reason why it's hard for a woman to find a man, because there's so many women out there, and the numbers, of course, it's true. You can't lie about numbers. You know how many men it is per woman. However, if you are, I'm gonna use this terminology real quick because it just came to my brain. A high quality woman.
Come on now.
A balanced woman, a woman walking in my woman, you will have a lot of them, because I ain't never been anywhere where in my sea that there was no fish. One's going and there's another one lining up. So that whole number where there's 10 men to, it's 10 women to one man, it's 10 men to my one woman. I ain't never had an issue. So that problem they're saying, I don't know where they live at. I'm just saying, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's limited belief. And I'm not buying limited belief. Thank you. I'm glad I posed the question. Thank you. Brother Knowledge, do you have any feedback for a sister?
Mother, may I?
Of course.
Yes, you may.
Okay. You got to ask Mother permission. That's how you get the switch, okay? You don't want the switch. In preparing your imagination, you should write a description, because you have a vacancy available in your queendom. You have a vacancy. So now you have to have
Is he frozen?
For these openings, you have to fill it. I think I froze for a second. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
So when a corporation or a kingdom or a queendom has a vacancy, they post a job opening. And they get the HR team together, and the HR team, they resource humans for this position. And they get candidates together, and they interview candidates. But before the candidates apply for the position, They submit their resume. Right? They submit their resume. So you have a vacancy. You're looking to unite two kingdoms, ancestral bloodlines, all these kind of things, and you got no requirements for that. You got no standards. There's no job posting. There's no description. There's desired qualifications versus required qualifications. You got all of this to get paid $7 an hour. You could go to McDonald's. They make you pee in the cup. You got to fill out all these forms. You got to sign contracts for $7 an hour at McDonald's. And the most sacred thing that we have to us in our existence is repeating African life, and we ain't got no requirements and no standards. Somebody could just wink at you. Somebody could just slide in your DM, and that's it. So we come from a place where we have standards and qualifications. So where's your standards? Where's your qualifications? Where is desired qualifications? Your required qualifications? What is your background test? Do you got to come in for a couple of interviews? Do you have to have an interview where you demonstrate certain things? You cannot get a position any place else in the United States of America without demonstrating your worth and value to that particular company.
Where are you located? Where are you located? Where are you located, Knowledge?
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina, okay. I actually have an application, by the way, a literal written application and a job description.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. That's supposed to be a requirement because we come from a society and we come from lineages where this was the standard beforehand. Your families had to know each other. Yes. This is how you knew each other. Mm-hmm. I'm looking to you. This is what marriage is for. Marriage and courtship. You in the royal court. Okay, you're out here courting with the idea of marriage to increase the kingdom, the wealth and beneficence of the kingdom. We got the king and the queen moniker and the god and the goddess moniker, but we don't have the practical means to express that. So, okay, we can use this modern language and say I have requirements, I have standards. I'm not lessening my standards. Such and such has to meet my qualifications. You work somewhere. If you don't perform the job to task, they let you go. Mm-hmm. But we take everything else serious. The job serious. We talking this purpose. We're here to take care of our families, and we're not taking care of ourselves, and we're not taking care of our families.
True.
Resume is a living document that shows your past, your present, and your future. When you fill out a job application, they say, can we contact your previous employer?
Exactly.
Could I contact the last person you were in a relationship with to verify
I'm going to send you
story.
My application.
I think she said she about to send you her application.
I got the application right on here.
Everything your life
is on there. That's true.
Right. It's your life. It's your sanctity. It's your sanctuary. It's access to your innermost secret being. And you just like, yo, you can have that. You can have access to that. Wow. Our ancestors could be in conflict. We could be in conflict.
Oh, shoot. You're going to have to come back. Come on back. Come on back, Knowledge. Come on back, Knowledge. Come on back.
So
you got to repeat that last thing you said, brother. You froze up on us. Is he frozen again? Everything you said is well received, despite the static and the freezing. Everything you said is done, and I receive that. Everything you said is done. Ashe.
I'd like to pose another question that maybe Farugh you can use, and another one that you
can you hear me?
when they were talking about standards and things of that nature.
Am I
Maybe
back?
another
Yeah, he's back.
class
All right, I
podcast.
guess I gotta slow it down for the internet. They're like, oh wait, we can't have people having requirements. Okay, they won't work for $5 an hour. Understand what I'm saying? They won't just take any old thing we throw at them. So understanding your worth and value, and the worth and value of your name, the worth and value of your bloodline. We're here for that particular purpose, you know. Yeah. Farugh, you brought up Killmonger. His name is Inchidaka. Our enemies called him Killmonger. So this is what we call him. What our enemies call him. His name was Inchidaka. His father's name was Njobu. And I found it very disrespectful that we don't know his mother's name. Even though they were looking to break her out of prison. She was a political prisoner in America because she was helping him. And she transitioned in prison. We don't even know her name. They just call her an American woman. So that's very interesting. So now look at us rebuilding these dynasties with no requirements and no standards. We have no requirements for access to us. So this resume is a living document that tells you your past, your present, and your future. Resume and resume are the same word. So you're looking to resume something. There was a break. This is why your resume comes. You're looking to resume something. So something that you did previously, something that you're currently doing, or something that you're looking to do in the future. This living document that changes, it is customizable based upon the situation and circumstance that you're looking to fill. Customizable to this particular job description or endeavor you wish to embark on, or this career or this lifelong journey, whatever it is, it's supposed to be where you demonstrate your worthiness to be able to fill this position.
Indeed.
So now you've got tradition, where tradition gives you a background check, because you might be like, oh, sister is bad. And our ancestors be like, yeah, she real bad for you. What you going to do in that situation? Oh, brother fine, he on it, he's sharp. You know, I like the way he wrote his R's. And your ancestors will be like, what? Nah. Do you have the courage to subdue how you're feeling, to be obedient to this guidance, because it's something that you don't see in that situation? So these become requirements on how we live our lives. I'll say this last thing and I'll be quiet, okay?
No, then it's your question. After you say the last thing, it's your question.
Okay, so I'll have a question by the end of this. There's places in the United States, they got Claim Malcolm X Day, right? May 19th, everybody turn up. They be like, Claim Malcolm X Day. And they're not claiming Malcolm X. I had a funny feeling about many of the jelly bean culture folk that come around, and they pick tradition like they pick jelly beans. You know, the black jelly beans don't get picked. They use tradition like that. They be like, oh, I like this. I like this. Oh, polygyny? Oh, sister, let me tell you. I need you to understand what I'm saying about it. Like, oh, there's nothing else to go along with it. I just found this jelly bean. I like how this jelly bean tastes. I don't want the whole tradition. I don't want to do no changing. I don't want to do no sacrificing. I don't want to submit to no process of correcting my character. I don't want to do none of this other stuff. I just want to eat this jelly bean right here.
Knowledge, where'd you go?
So we had Malcolm for 39 years, so people want to claim him. Dr. Betty Shabazz, after Malcolm's martyrdom, raised 6 children and helped every Black woman that she could find on the planet become mothers and become great women. While she battled the state, while she battled the interlopers and all of the enemies of Malcolm, there's no Dr. Betty Shabazz Day. We had her for 32 more years after the death of Malcolm. She was in every organization, and she was here for African people, and we don't even call her name. So how do we have these jelly bean pickers in the forefront being spokespersons for culture that they don't abide by? And there's no evidence of disomission, but they'll espouse things out of their mouths. So our cultural safeguard is supposed to be our moral compass and the rectitude of our conduct in the space for every single thing that we encounter. Our culture and our traditions are supposed to have the answer. Are we prepared after receiving the prescription to do what's necessary to adhere for optimal success and help, no matter what it costs? So, God, I was saying, to you in regards to that, you already have those standards. You already had those requirements. You spent the time necessary with yourself to see what you like and what you don't like and how to process this, devoid and despite your natural inclination for companionship. You have been the best possible companion to yourself.
Yeah.
So now that royal compliment who come from that divine lineage that you see in your mind and that you say, I know where he is. I'm preparing for his arrival. He is going to do whatever is necessary to prove his worthiness and his worth and value to exist in my space. And I'm thankful for that. And if something does not fit, what Johnny Cochran say, if it does not fit, you must quit. You got to let him go about his business. If something does not fit, you must have quit. Thankful for his time and say, hey, next candidate.
Look, I've been not letting it fit for 7 years now. How long? Not long. How long? Not long. I heard one of the kings say that. But how long is, what I'm saying? I'm patient, but I appreciate you guys.
There was a lesson in there. There's a lesson in there for us all. Everybody got something from that.
Yes. And your question is?
How long? I don't want to get popped in the head. So, y'all heard me mention tradition. So, obviously, I'm a tradition advocate. How did you introduce tradition in your family? And how would you suggest the people that are listening and the people that will listen to introduce tradition to their family?
That's good.
That's a good one. First thing I would like to say about tradition is we have to recognize, I think us here as Black people in America, a lot of us are still searching really hard to find our roots and get reconnected to our roots. So sometimes when we do that, we get stuck back there in the past. We go to Sankofa to reach back and get it, but we stay back there. We don't reach and get it and bring it back up here. So with that being said, you have to recognize we have many traditions. So many of us are trying to go back and find some of our African root traditions, which are very many, because here being Black people in America and Africans of African ascendants, I don't say descendants, I say ascendants. We all have come from many different places, and we have been mixed with so many different things. So we have many traditions, and then we created our own traditions once we came here. So we can't neglect those. I think we should not throw them away as if they don't mean anything. So there's a lot of different traditions that we have. So and I think different ways that people choose to introduce them to their families, and introduce to themselves. So for me, I have traditions that was brought down from my parents and their parents and so forth with different holidays. And for me also, what I use is what innately comes to me. For me as a being, I am truly connected to my ancestors. So a lot of things I just know. So whatever resonates with me that I should be doing in traditional sense, coming from my ancestors on the continent of Africa, I choose to implement them as they come to me into my life and then into my children's life as I learn about them by reading more about them, talking about them. I do that on my Facebook page, on my Knowledge, Wisdom, and Healing platform, to share them with myself and others, to bring awareness to them. So that's how I choose to bring in tradition for myself and my family.
Brother Farugh?
Great question. Great question. For me, is I lead by example. Yeah, that's just I guess that's the simple case for me. I just lead by. When I was practicing Islam, my son he was practicing Islam with me, and my family's practicing Islam with me. And then when I came out of Islam and went to Rastafari, same thing. It was just as I was evolving, they was involved with me, and they was learning the tradition and learning the practices because I was practicing them, and I was sharing the things that I was learning with them, and the rituals I was partaking in. They watched me take in the rituals, but I also leave room for them to find their own individual way. I don't try to beat it into them or things of that nature, because they have a purpose. They have an assigned purpose when they chose me to be their parent. So, before even my partner or significant other or family members, whoever is watching me, witnessing me practice these traditions, practicing rituals, practicing these way of lives, they have their own individual purpose. So the lesson that was taught to me, because first Islam, I was hard, I was in the heavy, and I wanted everybody to go into paradise. So I was preaching, and I was upset when people didn't follow through, and I was like, "You say you can come to class," and I was stressing, and I was crying, I was staying up late at night because people wasn't doing what I wanted them to do. And E-Man told me, he was like, he said, "Let me ask you, let me see. You don't make Muslims. Allah make Muslims. All you supposed to do is just drop the seed, brother. Stop stressing. That's not your job." And I took that for the rest of my life. So right now I just practice. And if whoever's supposed to get that lesson, get that lesson. And now I'm in Kemetic way of life now. And so they learning that as well. So they have a nice array of traditions to choose from. And whatever ones that speak to them, that's what they will be taking in. Yeah, so that's basically it.
I appreciate that. I took a moment to Google the definition of the word tradition. I needed to make sure I was clear, and I think that we use words and sometimes we have different connotations and denotations of how we use those words. Even like mythology, is when that word is thrown out there, we think about certain types of myths, and not the jargon within the culture or, a religion or whatever that we're practicing. So, based on this meaning of transmission of customs or beliefs from generations to generation, or the fact of being passed on in this way, or an inherited, established, or customary pattern of thoughts, actions, or behavior, a belief of a story or a body of beliefs of stories. Tradition, that is a really good thought-provoking question to me, because I don't think I practice any one thing. Grew up Jehovah's Witness on one side, Methodist. I was born a Methodist, and then I was rebaptized as a Baptist. And so it's traditions, even our practices under religion, but that's not traditions as far as Thanksgiving, Christmas, because some things you do at home and your customs or whatever your practices are different than religious beliefs or practices. So that word tradition is kind of broad. Um, Stories that I pass on to my children are written in books. I try to be traditionally, I like to go spend time with my children. I'm a family woman. I love family. But I don't think that I have any traditional thing that I do, like religiously, I guess. Um, I don't always wear something over my head. I don't always wear Afrocentric clothes. I don't always do the opening of the way. I don't have any ritualistic tradition that I hold. I don't think I do. So I'm kind of an abstract canvas. Some things are concrete and you can see whatever it is, but I'm kind of an abstract being, and I just love. Like for real, for real. So I don't have any real traditions. So, and your traditions?
That's dope. That's dope. 'Cause
I'm like water.
I just had this conversation with I don't know why I'm always picked to do these relationship talks and stuff like that all the time. But I just had this conversation and was talking about how some people, most people need a discipline. Most people need a discipline because they're so scattered, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need a, they need a discipline to bring themselves together and have something structured to help shape their character. And then
Mm-hmm.
people
Mm-hmm.
that don't need it per se, and they have their core stuff
Mm-hmm.
open to receiving messages and um, answers and lessons from many sources.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's me. Like I have these disciplines, and I need these disciplines to take me to the next level, right? But I'm always open to everything else. Open to different religions. I'm open to different food. I'm open to the different variations of,
Mm-hmm.
right. So I like when you say as far as the tradition, because tradition is not always religion based. Like people think celebrating Thanksgiving, that's a tradition, but that's not based. That's something they have to do every year, just
Yeah.
part of that clan. So that's a really good point.
Yeah. I think too what you say too, sis, about being that you kind of fluid with the water, not necessarily following one thing. I would say that's also part of my art because it's a balance. So you can't have just one thing. Like the brother was saying, how he went through these different spaces of learning different religious cultures or ways of life.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us have done that. And for me,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this, if you really look at it, they all come from the same one source anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, it's almost like Minister Farrakhan says all the time that yes, I'm Christian, I'm Baptist, I'm Catholic, I'm a Jew, I'm all of it. Because he
Come
also
on.
recognized that it all comes from the same space. So whether you are studying Kemetic spirituality and that's something that you need to help you reach the evolution that you want to be in, or whether you do it through Islam and the different sets of Islam that there is out there, or through Christianity and the different denominations and Hebrew Israelites or what have you, they all at the end of the day come from the same root anyway, and there is truth in all of them. And if you really study them, you will see when you're speaking to people He's saying the same exact things I have studied just about all of them. So sometimes I can be an advocate for them, even though I don't study that. Like I'll have a conversation
Indeed.
I just did today with a brother who is a Christian, and actually this organization that they are Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church. Never
Mm,
heard of it. It's quite interesting. So having a conversation with this brother, he's talking about Christians, he's talking about Islam and why he couldn't be, a Muslim because of what they do to their women. I was like, brother, actually that's not true. I'm not a Muslim. But some people think I am because I advocate because the stuff that you're saying is wrong. And actually they say the same thing that the Bible said. You know why I know? Because I've read them all. Kind of scenario. So you know what I'm saying? Again, knowing that and being fluent, and at the end of the day, being open to truth and knowledge and secrets of the truth, and recognizing you can find that anywhere. There's many places you can find that, not just one space.
yeah. There's a universal truth in all of it.
I
Yeah.
say,
Indeed. Yes.
If we
Yes.
gallery, you take the bus, you take the bike, you take the train. We all going in the same venue, and we just using different vehicles to get there, but we all gonna meet there. You know what
I
I'm saying?
love it. Hmm.
This was great, and I'm like, and it's great to be amongst like minds. Like we all like, in a sense, like
Hmm.
jumped on the Jones, like me see the correct terminology of tradition, and he's reading from the book, and you quote, and it's like I love that's when I'm most turned on by. I was going to talk about the whole turn on thing, but I'm most turned on by intellect, like intellect,
Sapiosexual, of
yes,
course.
stimulates
all
the
the
thought,
way.
and like an intelligent woman. Oh my god! Like, all right. So this is great. All I can say is that this is
I didn't hear him answer the question, but I would say, it's kind of to me, my self, my being is like music. I
mm,
mean, I like country, I like rock, hip hop, I like classical orchestra. I feel the hertz, I feel the frequency, the vibration in music, and music is in all cultures, all language, it's everywhere. It's like love. And so I just, here's the thing. People, in order for some people to relate to you, they have to put you in their box. And so I like she said about polygamy. If I said I'm about polygamy, I'm open. I don't beat up people who choose it in the right healthy way. I'm not talking about no pimps and hoes though. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about righteousness. You know what I'm saying? So I, again, in a nutshell, I'm not in any like box.
And when that man comes, he's going to recognize that and let you flow in free form however you go, and he'll be that grounding space when you need it, sis.
mm,
Say that. Y'all coming to my wedding too, okay? Just so y'all know.
Sure will be there.
that's right.
Destination wedding.
Uh-huh. I like those.
So
Brother Knowledge, can you answer the question that you posed, please?
Can you hear me? Am I good?
yep, you good.
Okay. So I had to do some consulting with my ancestral spirits, with my family on how to do that. Because traditions have been in our family for so long, they don't call them tradition no more. You might have thought you was in the church, you might have thought you was in the masjid, you might have thought you were any of these places and didn't realize what you were dealing with until you graduated. So you have to graduate sometimes in order to see what it is. But if you brought up in an optimal environment, you begin to study. So for my family, I took the approach that my mother did with us. We have 6 siblings, so I'm directly in the middle, 3 older and 3 younger. And whatever spiritual system or religious system that we were interested in, we walked in as a family. We did the research, we did the study, and we walked in its totality. So whether it was Islam, whether it was Christianity, whether it was Buddhism, whatever the particular the particular path was, we did it
Mm-hmm.
as a family.
Mm-hmm.
So we were studiers, we were practitioners from that particular sense, and wherever that resonated with them, my siblings, this is the path that they stayed on. So we don't have arguments about spiritual systems or religious. We don't go back and forth. It's none of that. Whatever you're resonating with, you got it earnestly, and you were studious. So whatever it was, you got it from the information and not necessarily the people. So like a small percentage of the time, I say about 10% of the time, we get it from the information, and about 90% of the time, we get it from the people. So I learned in that space that it's growth through exposure. So if you're interested in this and this is where you want to resonate, then respect and honor to you for that. And then in the next instance, whatever it was. So introducing traditions from my family's practice to my family was through study. I heard Farugh say by his example. That's another thing. So not just from the copious researching, but also through the example and participation. So you got observation and participation. That's like Panther rules. That's like organizational rules. So guiding them to what resonates with them, and then seeking out what their mission is, what their goal is, what their aim is, what lessons they're here to learn on the planet, and what work they have to do, and finding something in that spiritual system that will help them cultivate the skills necessary for their development so they can be able to fix their task. It may not be what resonates with me, and I have to be wise enough in that space to know what resonates with them and guide them to that. So, interestingly enough, with these traditions, learning all the traditions allowed me to be able to give respect and honor to them in a way that we speak those languages with respect and regard. So, folks want to debate and all that stuff. I was a child doing all of that. Grown people, whatever they want to do, that's what they want to do. And with young people, you give them a chance to express themselves. Like, how do you resonate with what you've got going on? Like, what are you interested in? Okay. So just, being mindful of that. And, it's a hard lesson. I made it sound like it's simple, but it's a hard lesson. You see what I'm saying? It's a hard lesson, but it was as hard as I made it, or as easy as I would make it. So introducing tradition, came with all of these, sets of circumstances. I was listening to Dr. Miles Monroe earlier today,
Love them.
and he said that he was baking a cake one
Mm-hmm.
time, and he was baking this cake, and he wanted the cake like the cake on the picture. So the picture, he had this cake, and he wanted it to look a certain kind of way, and he could taste the cake based off of the picture. I'm paraphrasing what he was saying in regards to his message, but he said the vital thing about the picture is the finished result of following instruction. The result. So what he envisioned in his mind for his cake was following the instructions of having the proper ingredients. You see what I'm saying? So these ingredients, he substituted two of the ingredients, and that messed up the entire cake. He didn't have these ingredients, so he put what he wanted to put in the cake and expected the cake to be like the cake in the picture. So, you know, my own self, learning those hard lessons about not following instructions willingly and having to be drugged to, because you're going to get those instructions, whether you want those instructions or not. And once they've been given, if they're not adhered to willingly, it's forcefully. So, learning those lessons about control and self-control and, adhering to these words we use like discipline and, all of these things that go along with it. And that same kindness that was exhibited from this seer in this particular story that I was reading earlier, I learned to be cool in them situations where I would have been heated.
Are you froze?
Based off of how I was looking at the cake on the picture. I wanted the cake or my family or the family traditions to be one way and everybody to be going like this and substituting ingredients and expecting a great result. So, approaching it, with that uh, hindsight being 2020, I could look at the cake, and if I want this particular cake to look this way, I'm going to follow the instructions.
Interesting. Um, yeah, I hear exactly what you're saying. You talked about laws. You talked about how you were raised, and to me, humbly, I think that you color inside the lines. I've never colored inside the lines for one thing, and then you talking about this cake, and I love and respect Dr. Miles Monroe. Um, Rest in peace for the airplane crash with he and his wife on it. But I love studying him. And you use this cake as an example. So if it's okay, I'd like to say two things. One, I think it's fair to say that we've all studied a plethora of religion and history. Hinduism, Buddhism, Jehovah's Witness. I was baptized a, a number of different times because I thought it wasn't taken, so I had to go get saved again at the Pentecostal church and then the Methodist church. It just was not. I kept getting in trouble for some reason. So I studied Islam and the seven pillars, and I'm on this path of Kemetic spirituality, and then I found even in this it, like the sister said earlier, it became about knowledge, and it's all about the pyramids and the meta nectar, and it's all about facts, but there was some spiritual love missing from that. So for myself, I just wanted to be Maya. I just wanted to live that. So going back to your example of the cake, I look at it like fried chicken. What do I mean by that? We can look at a picture of chicken, but Hardee's have their way of chicken, Popeyes have their way of chicken, you know, baked chicken, fried chicken, boiled chicken, chicken a la. So, it's like it's chicken, it's tradition, it's a tradition, but it's served different ways, it's prepared different ways. It's not no one way to do no chicken. If you take out two ingredients and add some cayenne pepper and some whatever, you're gonna have it a different way. It's still chicken. You don't have to have it the same way all the time. You can do it a different way, and it can still bring to your palates the flavor that you like. It doesn't have to be a one way. It doesn't have to be so rigid. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yep.
it does. It does.
Okay, I didn't know.
Because it's like religion, there's tradition, and there's culture, right? So you got the cultural spin to it that makes it gives it this the variety of flavors. You know what I mean? It's like you got the Christianity, then you got the Rasta Christianity, and then you have the African Christianity, then you have, you know what I mean? So yeah, I get it. That was my most, that's why I push culture the way I push culture, because yes, you could be Christian, but you got to do it from your cultural perspective. That way it heals you. If you're doing Christianity from a white person perspective and it doesn't serve you, then it can't heal you. It
That's
can't.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So yes, take on the Christianity, but don't throw your culture away in place of that religion. You know what I'm saying? So yes, if that's your discipline of choice, put your culture in it.
I say, and for the people that are listening that are of following Christianity or do not want to leave that but still want to be a part of finding your cultural basis and ancestral lineage. The church that I talked about before, which is called the Pan-African Orthodox Christian Church, is a one space for you to go there to get that information if that's the path that you choose to take. It kind of gives you the baseline of what you want. As far as staying somewhat within Christianity, but like the brother said, it adds our culture to it so that it'll be a space for you to heal. Whereas some of the stuff that we have been taught, otherwise, Christianity is not that way. And I want to real quick, brother, bring it back to what we're talking about with relationships. The brother and sister that created a Khamuo Day. The brother, how do you pronounce his name again?
Macho.
He posted something today, and he posted a question talking about where do we get our relationship information from. That we go by
the 5 languages.
It was the 5 or 7, whatever many 5 love language stuff like that. But have we read anything culturally or written by Black people? And he posts some things. Of course, we talked about the book that him and his wife wrote together. That's one is a good one. So he started asking people different ones, and I think he had the book on there he called The Spirit of Intimacy, Ancient African Teaching in the Way of Relationships by Sobonfu Some. I mess up people's names. So that's a good book. Just bring it back there again. So that's the one. And also if you go on their page for Khamuo Day, it was in the comments. A lot of other people put some other books in there they had that are about Black, more of our cultural basis to deal with what relationships should look like. So we can kind of get back to some of those traditions of how we see relationships, how we see each other as male and females, and what our roles and responsibilities are in relationships. One of the other books was Complementary or something like that. Thoughts for African Warrior Couples.
Yes.
And I am not going to pronounce that name because I'm going to jack it all up. I just wrote 2 of those down because there's 2 books that I'm going to look into myself to get, but just want to kind of tie it back in and bring it back into relationship and things that we were talking about. And we're talking about tradition and those things of that nature.
Don't forget.
What's that one, brother?
That's the Black Love one.
Okay.
That was in that list.
Yes,
too.
you said that. Yes, last week too. Yeah, that one too.
That book list too. I've seen that same post. And
Mawada Ashby has some good books too.
Who's this?
Who's that?
Mawada Ashby.
Yes.
Yes, they had a couple of them. There was several of them. They were just the ones that I haven't looked down, and I kind of saved the post to go back later and pull up some of those different books and things of that nature. But I was just trying to tie it all back together in relationships. So
yes.
about that.
And read, Black people. Read. Let your children see you reading more than just text messages and Facebook posts. Read a book. Sit down with your family and just sit down and just read. Put some music in the background. Burn some Palo Santo sticks or some sage and just make a moment, 1 hour of just reading and just being in that presence of reading with your family. Read to your family.
Yes.
We got to start reading more.
Yeah. And a little plug real quick before we go. I know we've been on here way longer than we're supposed to.
Have we?
Everybody is singing on things of that nature. Sinette Raaw'EL and her sister Sinette Daria. I'm one of the people, and we have a Facebook group for singles, connecting conscious. Sister, I don't remember what's the
Conscious
name
connection.
of it?
Yeah, the Kemetic conscious connection.
Some of those things. And one of the things that I was going to do is post some of these books and have a book club. And maybe we can even talk. Read some of these books and come on. All of us have platforms here. Brother does, I do, sister do, and talk about some of these things and maybe start. And we can be the first place to bring up some of these other ways of us looking at relationships for our culture. You know what I'm saying? From these books and having some talks on some of the topics that they have in these books. Just an idea to throw out there that I'll be doing. So I'll be calling on y'all or wait for y'all to call on me so we can, do this collectively and get this out here.
I love it.
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
I mur it.
Yeah, there you go.
There she go with that laugh. Yes, I mur it.
I'm with that.
Wow.
So I know like 4 of those books I read. So I'm really, I got to get the other 6, but yeah, it's important. They say family is the bedrock of the nation, and if you can't run your family, if you can't run yourself, you have a really bad chance of running your family. You have
Let me tell you,
business. You have You know what I mean? So it's like, gotta start with self.
That's it.
Managing your time, then managing your household, and then you can manage your business. You can manage everything. And that's what my slogan is, like, be my eye and become a master of life. And a lot of people take it like, but no, if you master the principles of my eye, you can pretty much master your life.
And we're struggling, you guys. I work in social services. I'm the one that knocks on the door to see if the children are safe. I'm not the investigator, but I am child welfare. And going into these homes and seeing normalized ill behavior. You normalize these behaviors that are unhealthy and for lack of a better word, toxic. You know, we cannot say it's okay to call your child a nappy head B. You know what I'm saying? Get your nappy head stupid A out. No, baby girl. We're not gonna. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. You cannot talk to them this way, sis. So we have to have some boot camps for parents, because it's a generational curse, because their mother talked to them that way, their father talked to them that way. We got to break those cycles. My parents never talked to me that way. I've never cursed my boys, and they better not listen to that kind of stuff around me. Now you can listen to it in your own, and I'm not saying you can't. I understand people express themselves with profanity, but what about respecting your elders? We don't even have that anymore, you know. And brothers, once again, I can't. You know what? Is it okay if I do a poem for you, brothers?
So
Or should I save it?
yes.
Please,
Yes.
please,
Should I save it?
Mother Maat, Mother Maat. Okay, do we got it? Ooh.
This poem is called Black Men, We Need You. We are the mothers of your child. We are the ones to make you laugh and smile and reminisce of sweet brown sugar kisses and good soul food dishes. Come on, boy, you know it's delicious. Those turnip, mustard, and collard greens, and that hot buttermilk cornbread. I know this sounds stereotypical, but I want you to feel the original, that first love, that real love, that crazy love. We are the ones who kissed your wounds when you fell down, and we still love you when you choose to clown. But my brothers, my sons, why you choose to run and have fun? Why have you abandoned your families, your heritage, your legacies? Black men, we need you. Ours is a race that is endangered, like the many precious commodities stolen by strangers. And I forgot the other part to it. I apologize. Y'all was getting into it, wasn't y'all?
Yes, that was good. That was right there. That was good enough right there.
Y'all have to go listen to it.
I'm grateful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I apologize. I
Now,
can't.
Don't you dare.
I'm not used to doing it just on the spot like that.
That's okay. You just give us a taste, so everybody that's seeing this now, people is going to watch the replay of it. You see what it is the next time when we see some posting for Sister Raaw'EL that's going to be doing a poetry night or poetry thing. Going out there and push that button and subscribe and get it. If you're not in her area and you can't be there physically, she does it online for us, so you can get a taste of it then. So that it was meant to be just that way. I'm gonna give you a little bit of taste of it.
I think so.
And then come
I
on,
know it by heart.
with the rest of it. Yes, that's what that is.
that's awesome.
I think so.
I appreciate it. I thank you.
Yes.
So we know next month is I call it Black Women Excellence Month. And so in that month, I try to I aim to get women-owned businesses and give them a platform to talk about their business, talk about themselves, talk about their purpose, talk about their goals, talk about their movements. So that invitation is open to you, to y'all both, if y'all open to it. But that will be on a one-on-one basis. So I will have you on one week and have you on the other week, and that way that whole platform will be about your business, about your purpose, about your goals and ambitions in life, and how we can help you achieve those things. So if that's something that you're interested in, we'll talk about it offline, and we'll commit to it and lock it in. And so y'all be the first But I'm getting y'all the info. So,
we receive it. Thank you.
Yes, and then my sister can come too.
Yep. Oh yeah, so y'all had the same business. So yeah, y'all both.
We do.
So y'all both will be on, and so yeah, it's 4 weeks in that month, and so 4 Mondays in that month, I think, and then we just have y'all on. So that'd be pretty dope.
Great.
That'd be pretty
Sounds
dope.
great. This has been a pleasure.
Yes,
It's been a pleasure.
And I normally don't do this. That's why I had to go offline. I had to tell my babies, I was listen, I need some extra time today. This is good, and the producer's on, so I know it's okay. Because if he's normally not on, I'm like, all right, we gotta get off by 9 o'clock. But if he's here, then it's okay. I
appreciate that.
That was to keep going forward. But yeah. So let me do my spiel. We are coming to the end of this exchange, and thank you for joining us on this global movement towards self-discovery and empowerment, which equals true liberation and freedom. Any closing comments from the guests?
Just thank you. I admire you guys. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, this is a divine moment, and I'm glad to connect with you guys.
We admire you too.
Yeah, same thing. Do I appreciate this space and this time of being here and joining, and look forward to it. It's kind of uplifts my spirit to be with like-minded individuals when sometimes you're in an environment where that's not what you get on a daily basis. So this is invigorating for me. It's kind of filling me up in spaces that I needed to fill me up. So do I to all of you for that.
Yeah.
Knowledge.
I'll be so used to. I'm like, wait, I'm a guest. That count?
Yeah, right.
Look, we here all the time. So honestly, to have God's in our presence and impart that righteous knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to get us back on the right path. I mean, correction doesn't always come in the form where it's calm and it's cool, but correction is correction, and correction is protection. So I thank y'all for, protecting me righteously and, being a reminder of from which we came and which we're going. So thank y'all for being Sankofa.
Please inbox me your addresses so that I can mail you a copy of my book.
I say, will do. And we're gonna do this once a month. I'm gonna make this a monthly segment to where we can have these conversations. It shouldn't just be about February when it's Black Love Month, it's Black History Month. We should have these kind of conversations as often as possible.
I feel you on that. Real quick, I'm sorry, brother. Maybe we should also too offline, the three of us get together with our platform to see if we can rotate it too. We're trying to get to as many masses of people that we can definitely get to, and get those masses together. So when they see, people see me on your platform, they come to mine. People see you on my platform, they come to yours. Is we are better in numbers. Something that I say in knowledge and conscience is none of us as strong as all of us. Mm-hmm. I need you, you need me.
BeWisdom, can you tell us the date and time of yours and each one of you guys so that I can put it on my calendar and we can begin that rotation like now, like in the now?
I love it.
Yeah. So normally, right now, because of the space I'm in spiritually and doing some things, I just been kind of doing it when I'm led by spirit to do things. However, normally it's the first and third Sunday around 1 p.m. is when I usually do it, and it's usually through Facebook and also on my YouTube page as well. So if this is something that we do together, that will be on a regular basis.
Is that Central?
Eastern Standard Time. Eastern Standard Time. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the first and third Sunday of every month.
Okay. Brother Knowledge?
I'm here all day, every day, 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. So I'm right here. If you're my Facebook friend, you might be sick of me. Like, yo, man, what this dude doing, man? You understand what I'm saying?
You're doing the work.
And of course, my Monday, 7 p.m. Every Monday on 7 p.m. on the Do the Knowledge Radio platform. And yours is on Sunday too, right?
Sunday, Solar Sister series is on Sunday, 7 Central, and that's myself and my sister, Empress Daria, and we talk about everything from A to Z, and that's we say from learning your alphabets to zeitgeist and everything in the middle, sex, drugs, alcohol, overcoming those things, just everything, life and balance, everything.
All right. All right. So yeah, I think we did it. I think I've been on your platform.
You
You've been,
have,
and I've been on yours. Now you're on mine. So we making it pop. We making it work.
yes, indeed.
So yeah, you don't
And
want.
I'm available, I'm available to you guys. I get off work at 5 o'clock, and that'll be 6 o'clock your time, I think.
Okay.
Because what is it 9 there? It's
Yes.
9 there, right? Okay, so it's 8 over here.
Okay.
So yeah, it'll be 6 o'clock your time. I'm available. I'm always like him. I'm always doing something. I'm in the middle of working on 3 books. One is called Think. One is called Afrocentric Polygamy in America. The other one is called Carry Me. So I'm working on 3 books simultaneously, and I'm hoping to have those things done here pretty soon. And you guys may know that I'm always making jewelry and things of that nature. And we have events every month all the way up to December. So
Wow.
if you guys see us, we try to do it live, my sister and I. And I'm on a book tour right now promoting the 2 books that I have presently. One is my autobiography, Behind the Door, Facing My Demons and Breaking Free. And the other one is my poetry book that is Passion, Poetry, and Prose. So
Busy.
Where can they get the books?
they're on Amazon. Raaw'EL Ware, you can find it on Amazon. Again, just put my name on there, Raaw'EL Ware, and you'll find a plethora of stuff about me. You can just Google my name, and you'll see stuff about me.
Can people get
Pay
the
no
books from you
attention
directly because we want the autograph? Like, what can they
to
get them from
me.
you
Yeah,
directly?
you inbox me and you can request one, and then I'll send you an autograph one. And whenever you get it from me, you also get a handmade friendship bracelet out of one of the precious stones. It can be obsidian, it can be amethyst,
Okay.
citrine, crystal quartz. It can be an agate. I just have these right here. So
I want it from the real Amazon. I don't care nothing about no Amazon.
there
Okay,
you
you know what I'm
go. There
saying?
you
I want
go.
it from the real Amazon. I don't care nothing about no Amazon. Okay.
Where
When I touch a book, any book that I buy, I try to get it from the people
yeah.
so I can get this. I need this. This is my
Mhm.
flex right here. You see what I'm saying? Like I love them enough to get it from them so I can open up a book and they got a signature. I be looking at my books eerie when ain't nobody signed them. I'm like, come on, man. Like, what is
You
this?
know what, brother? So I've been gone away from this residence for 9 years, and I was down this rabbit trail. And once you read the book, you'll find out why and how and all that. But when I came back here, my heart was broken because in my home I had bookcases with over 700 books. And my boys put them out in the garage, and they were out there all this time. So they were wet and stuck together, and
Wow.
everything happened to them. And so behind me, you can see I have a small bookshelf right there. And I have a few, but I don't have anywhere near the 700 books that I had before. And my sons used to tease me, Mom, you don't have any plot books. It's like no stories. You just got religion and history and science and theology and self help. And I'm like, I know I have some plot books up there. I may have had maybe 10 or 15, but I'm not into like novels and all
Right.
that stuff. I'm into how to heal and build from the inside out. That's what I'm into. So I started writing them myself.
That's it.
There you go.
Because you got everything that you needed from those books.
Yep.
Otherwise, those books would have been preserved. You don't need them anymore.
Yeah. That's fact.
So part of that ascension was parting ways with that so you could build some books, so you could write some books in people so they can implement them in their life. You see what I'm saying? So that best evidence
Giving
for that
you a hug.
could be in their life. You could write in their life. You can help them circumscribe and circumnavigate through life.
You guys,
So
listen.
this is what the books were written for.
You
You know,
have
for
so
archival record.
much
Our
information.
ancestors knew that our
Come back.
they burnt libraries. You see what I'm saying? They burnt libraries for a reason. So this is why we started to deal with stone. Okay, you can't burn a pyramid. Good luck. They tried everything that they could possibly do. So these things were scribed.
Yes.
So now these are circumscribed on the heart. You know, they say that circumcision or circumscribing of the heart. So the heart and the mind. So the best evidence of a lesson that's learned is change behavior, right? So you're affecting folks and allowing them to change their behavior. So now these books live on. So ancestral blessings come. Now we don't have to talk about generational curses no more. We can say generational blessings, ancestral blessings. So we can use positive reinforcement when we speak of ourselves. You see what I'm saying? So these are the words. These words are reaching people and motivating them to change their life. Otherwise, we don't need it.
Y'all know what? When I got off work today, I was so drained and so tired from reading all that. And so now I have all of this energy. And so when I get off of here, I think I'm going to dance. I'm going to turn on my Afro beats and I'm just going to kind of dance and do my little hula hooping and just, you know, honor to the divine nature. You know what I mean? Just thank you guys for filling me up, overflowing your abundance this way. Thank you so much.
Ashe. So you don't want to miss next week's show. I don't know who's going to be on the show, but somebody's going to be on the show, and we're going to be uplifting women and supporting women and giving them a platform to bless us, and we will hopefully return them that blessings back to them. If you have any show ideas, topics, resources to assist on this mission of empowerment, also to keep the conversation going and growing, your input is important to our collective empowerment. Follow BeWisdom on all social media outlets. Comment under the digital flyers that was created by this young man right here, and for a chance to win some swag gear. If you found value in this presentation, you can support us in many ways. One, you can hire us for any events or things that you're having. I have a band. We are part of a band. We do workshops on many different topics. You can also buy our merchandise now. We now have merchandise, and you can join the movement by purchasing our t-shirts, sweatshirts, and sweatsuits, etc. Or you can just donate to Be My Eye Inc. on Cash App. No matter the amount, it's all tax deductible. I think that's on the ticker down there. If you didn't hear me, I want to extend my gratitude to all the supporters, sponsors. We are solely funded by your generosity. And if you like this program, there's tons of other programming like this on this platform, and they could also use some of your support. Donate to Knowledge Born. Oh, man, if you want to, you here. I don't have to do that. Where do they donate to, brother?
Look, I'm telling you, I'm like, oh snap, I'm a guest again. Like, oh, wait a minute.
I'm so used to doing. Wait a minute, he right here. He can tell you yourself.
Yeah. So the Cash App is Knowledge Born Allah, and the PayPal is paypal.me / Through the Knowledge Radio. So
awesome. And you can support his mission. His mission is to provide unbiased, objective information to answer our troubles and challenges and provide holistic solutions-based media to build a coalition in our collective African liberation. So, thanks to you again in advance, and always remember to be my eye and become a master. What? Your life.
Yes.
Of life. I'll see you Monday.
Love and light, you guys. Peace.
Peace.
Priesthood. I miss you, mommy, kiss you, golly. Christian body, flying dish, reminisce of Garvey. Surrounded by the elders, probably. Then I sit with Gandhi. Mahalia, the whalers with Marley. Afro beats, a supernatural priest. Carry the sword of the Lord, clash with the beast. After me, there's casualties, catastrophes, disaster, drastically. I write along passionately, microphone mastery. Tribe known the Maccabees. They say I look like an Olmec. Books are the old text. African Bush or Kush or the Hoteps. After came a pharaoh who knew not Joseph. But kings reign the same apparel, same culture. Every time I rhyme, they add wings to my sculpture. Every line's a paradigm, supreme supernova. The being future holder. Elohim, see through dreams, out the rain, ride the streams like I'm Noah. Moses, I throw my staff, turn the cobra. Vipers fast, bite the staff, bite the soldiers. With this microphone, I'm everlast, I'm Jehovah. The first to do work, I'm never last, I'm the owner.
All of the things I'm talking, not the yeah. Try what you not do if you're not the fair. One man they tell me to disappear, yeah. So come and help me, cause I don't pray, my man, I don't pray, come on man, I can't stay for one place, for God's sake, my day. Don't take my Pharaoh from you. They are talking shit, what the no get me? See you for forwards, I put up my eyes, 10 shots, my eye, just good. I cry, offshore, got my dread love. Believe me, I don't pray, Mohammed, I don't pray, come on.